There is a place on this earth where the ocean never rests. Waves the height of 6-story buildings, storms that have lasted for weeks, currents so powerful they dwarf every river on the planet combined. Sailors who've crossed it describe something that doesn't feel natural, like the water is angry, like it's been waiting. It's called the Drake Passage, and it has a way of swallowing hundreds of ships whole. Most of them, every single soul aboard, was never found. The Drake Passage sits at the very bottom of the world, a 600-mile-wide corridor of ocean separating the southern tip of South America from the frozen continent of Antarctica. There is no way around it. If you're heading to Antarctica by sea, this is the door you must walk through. And that door has a way of slamming shut behind you.
Hundreds of millions of years ago, Antarctica and South America were connected, one giant landmass. Then, slowly, they pulled apart, and when they did, they opened a channel that changed the entire ocean. A current formed, one that wraps entirely around Antarctica without ever hitting land. It's called the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, and it circles the globe endlessly, picking up speed, gathering energy, and it all squeezes through the Drake Passage.
November 29th, 2022. On board the Viking Polaris. The ship was a modern polar expedition vessel, state-of-the-art, built specifically for conditions just like this. It had been sailing toward Antarctica, but the journey had already gone wrong. 2 days earlier, during a small boat excursion near the Antarctic coast, one passenger had been injured and another had fallen into the freezing water. The ship turned back north. A medical evacuation had been arranged. The mood on board was tense. As the Polaris moved through the Drake Passage toward Ushuaia, Argentina, heading home, the crew believed the worst was behind them. They were wrong. Without any warning, a wave hit the ship from the side. Not a wave you could prepare for, not a wave the instruments saw coming. A rogue wave, a phenomenon that science still cannot fully explain. These walls of water appear suddenly, towering far above the surrounding sea, moving against the wind and the swell like they follow their own rules. The waves slammed into the cabins on one side of the ship. Windows, reinforced, polar-grade glass, shattered inward. Shards of glass tore across the rooms. The ship lurched so violently that loose objects became projectiles. In one of those cabins, a 62-year-old American woman was struck by the debris. She did not survive. 4 other passengers were also injured. The crew rushed to seal the damaged sections, treat the wounded, and hold the ship together as it pushed toward port. By the time the Viking Polaris reached Argentina the next day, those on the outside could see the damage, shattered windows, scarred hull. But inside, the damage was much darker. What made this event so deeply unsettling wasn't just the death, it was the reminder of what the Drake Passage truly is. Not all stories from the Drake Passage end with survivors to tell the tale. Most of them end in silence. July 1819, Buenos Aires, Argentina. A Spanish warship called the San Telmo set sail. It carried 644 men, soldiers, sailors, officers. Their mission, sail south, round Cape Horn, cross the Drake Passage, and reinforce Spanish forces in Peru. The empire was fracturing. Independence movements were rising. This was a mission that mattered. It was also a mission into a place they did not understand. By early September, the San Telmo was somewhere in the Drake Passage. Then, nothing. No distress signal, no wreckage immediately found, no survivors, no witnesses. The ship was last sighted on September 2nd near the South Shetland Islands at the edge of Antarctica, and then it simply ceased to exist. The assumption at the time was a powerful storm, a cyclone perhaps. In those waters, in September, early spring in the southern hemisphere, conditions can turn catastrophic in hours. If the ship was overwhelmed, if it capsized or broke apart, survival in water that cold would have been measured in minutes. But then, something strange happened. About a year later, sealers working near Livingston Island, deep in the Antarctic region, started finding things on the beach. Wooden beams, ship debris, fragments from what was clearly a large vessel. Livingston Island sits far south of where any wreck should naturally drift, which raised a disturbing question. Had part of the San Telmo made it there? In 1960, an Argentinian expedition found more remains along that same coastline. The materials matched what you'd expect from an early 19th century warship. What historians began to consider, quietly because there was no proof, was whether some of those 644 men had survived long enough to reach Antarctica, whether they had staggered onto that frozen shore, exhausted and freezing, becoming the very first human beings ever to put foot on the continent, only to die there, alone, in the cold, with no one coming. There are no journals, no campsite, no final words, just silence and wreckage on a frozen beach at the end of the world. By the early 1900s, Antarctica had become an obsession. Scientists wanted to chart it, explorers wanted to conquer it, and every single one of them had to cross the Drake Passage to get there. In 1901, a Norwegian-built ship called the Antarctic departed for the southern continent as part of the Swedish Antarctic expedition, led by a geologist named Otto Nordskjold. The plan was careful, calculated, the kind of plan that looks reasonable on paper until the ice decides otherwise. Otto and a small team would be dropped on Snow Hill Island to overwinter and conduct research. The ship, commanded by Captain Carl Anton Larsen, would return the following season to bring them home. They said goodbye, the ship sailed away, and the silence closed in. The winter that followed was brutal, even by Antarctic standards. Storms tore apart part of their hut, blizzards killed their dogs. They repaired what they could, stretched their supplies, and waited for the ship to return. It never came. What Otto didn't know was that the Antarctic was fighting its own battle. The ship had tried to reach Snow Hill, but found the way blocked by heavy pack ice. A desperate decision was made. 3 men were put ashore at Hope Bay to attempt an overland crossing to reach Otto's group. But almost immediately, the ice they had planned to cross broke apart and drifted away, stranding them. The ship pushed on, searching for another way through, and that was when the trap closed. The ice surrounded them, slowly at first, then completely. For weeks, the crew watched the ice press in from all sides. They listened to the hull groan and crack. They knew what was coming. 6 weeks after being frozen in, they abandoned ship. They had no choice. They stood on the ice and watched the Antarctic get crushed. The sound of it, a wooden ship being destroyed from every direction simultaneously, is something no survivor ever forgot. Then they walked across unstable, drifting ice, hauling lifeboats and supplies, the floes shifting and cracking beneath their feet, currents threatening to pull them out to sea at any moment. After days of this, they reached Paulette Island. They built shelters from rock and sailcloth. They ate penguins and seals. They burned seal fat for warmth. 3 separate groups of men were now stranded across Antarctica with no way to communicate, no rescue coming, and no certainty they would survive. The temperature at night dropped low enough to kill a person in minutes. They stayed there for months. When rescue finally came, an Argentinian ship pushing south through lighter ice, Otto was out sledding when he spotted 3 distant figures moving across the ice. He thought they were penguins at first. When he got close enough to realize they were the party from Hope Bay, he almost didn't recognize them. Their faces were black, coated in the soot of months burning penguin blubber for heat. That same day, Carl arrived at Snow Hill Island from Paulette Island. Everyone was alive, barely, but alive. Out of everyone stranded in the Antarctic that long, brutal winter, only one man died of heart failure. Every other soul made it out. It was, by any measure, a miracle. 1914. The world was about to go to war, but Shackleton had a different kind of battle in mind. His plan? Cross Antarctica on foot, the full continental crossing. No one had ever done it. He gathered a crew of 28 men and set sail from London. They stopped at South Georgia Island, a remote outpost at the edge of the known world, to resupply. There, the whalers who worked those waters gave Shackleton a warning he should have listened to. The ice in the Weddell Sea was worse than anyone had ever seen that year, abnormally heavy, dangerously unpredictable. Shackleton listened, then he went anyway. Almost immediately, the ice slowed them down, then it stopped them completely.
The Drake Passage is estimated to have claimed hundreds of ships, more than 10,000 lives. And here is what is most unsettling about that number. We will never know most of their names. The Drake Passage doesn't leave survivors to tell stories. Most of those ships went down in the dark, in waters hundreds of miles from any other vessel, centuries before anyone was recording anything. There were no radios, no distress signals, no rescue helicopters, just wooden ships and 60-foot waves in water cold enough to stop a heart in minutes. The stories we have, the Viking Polaris, the San Telmo, the Antarctic, the Endurance, are the ones where at least one person lived long enough to write it down. But for every Shackleton, there were dozens of ships that simply never came back. Somewhere in those dark, freezing depths, beneath miles of water, the remains of those ships still lie, and the Drake Passage still circles over them, waiting, always waiting. If you made it this far, thank you for watching Creepy Real Stories. If this kept you up at night, good. That means you understood it. Like and subscribe if you want more stories like this. Drop a comment below. Have you ever sailed near the Drake Passage? Or does even the idea of it terrify you? I'll see you in the next one.